Thanks for listening to Goddab Radio, a podcast for progressive thinking people. I'm Mad Dog Manser, and I'm here to bring you relevant and honest news and information I find compelling. We cover politics, debunk conspiracy theories, report on cannabis, especially in Oregon, and feature guest interviews regularly. At Goddab Radio, we are ferociously progressive, fiercely skeptical, and forcefully scientific with a no-nonsense attitude. Today is Friday, March 24th, and we have a jam-packed show today. This week, we will call out the flat earthers in our new segment, Conspiracy Hypothesis, or hypotheses, I should say, because conspiracy theories aren't theories at all. We have particularly gloomy Carnival Barks commentary today. What do you expect after James Comey's testimony earlier this week? And then we also have some general news pieces and a cannabis update, as always. We want to thank our sponsors for helping make Goddab Radio possible: Honey Badger Sungrown, Oregon Cannabis Connection, and Southern Oregon Alternative Medicine, and a special thanks to Eric Sky for allowing us to use his amazing song, One for the Green, to open and close our show. We really appreciate that. We will start our new with our new debunking segment, Conspiracy Hypotheses, because they never seem to rise to the level of theory. This has become notable this week because of the repeated comments of NBA star of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kyrie Irving.
Do you believe that the Earth is round?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You believe the Earth is round?
Yes, but I heard the new one that the Earth.
There's no new one. There is no new one.
Okay, I heard some crazy one. My boy
do you believe that we are? Do you believe?
This is gonna sound crazy. Ben Diggles, this is a shout out to you. He came to us and he listens to super conspiracy theory guy.
This is not even conspiracy.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah, no, the Earth is flat.
Oh, here we go.
That's Cleveland Cavaliers all-star guard Kyrie Irving telling his teammates Richard Jefferson and Shannon Fry that he believes the Earth is flat. Uncle Drew doubled down on his comments on Friday in New Orleans, and if you thought he was joking earlier, this confirms he is definitely serious. Take a listen.
I think people should do their own research, man, and then hopefully they'll either back my belief or they'll kind of throw it in the water. I think it's interesting for people to find out that.
You've seen pictures of the planet, though, right? Like it's a circle. So
I've seen a lot of things that that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. So I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts and what I believe.
Oh, okay, Kyrie. I understand about the educational system and all. Maybe let you down, but maybe you would have been a little more well-rounded, let's say, had you finished your degree at Duke University. I'm just saying, you only spent 1 year there and then you went into the NBA. You might have learned a little something. I'm just saying. It sounds like you should have gotten your degree. You know, what makes this amazing is that other NBA stars and former stars have also come to his defense and have come out as flat earthers as well. Most notably, Shaquille O'Neal, who spent quite a bit of time defending the flat earth concept to Mark Sargent on his talk show. Listen to this one.
What did you make of the Kyrie stuff?
It's true.
What?
The earth is flat.
Shaq, what are you talking about?
The earth is flat.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
listen,
it's not.
There's 3 ways to manipulate the mind: what you read, what you see, and what you hear.
Okay.
Conspiracies.
In school, first thing they teach us is, Columbus discovered America. But when he got there, it was some fair-skinned people with the long hair smoking out of peace pipes. So what does that tell you? Mm-hmm. Columbus didn't discover America.
He found where some other people already lived.
I drive from coast to coast, and this It's flat to me. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
I drive from
It's
Florida.
the dumbest thing you've ever said.
I drive from Florida to California all the time, and it's flat to me.
92 podcasts, and that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. That's a high bar to get over.
I do not go up and down in a 360-degree angle and all that stuff about gravity. Have you looked outside of Atlanta lately and seen all these buildings? So you mean to tell me that China is under us? China is under us.
If you keep
they are under us.
That's what they tell you when you're a kid?
The world is
If
flat.
you dug straight through your backyard, you could get to China.
No, you can't. The
The
world
world
is
is not
flat.
flat.
Yes, it is.
We've seen the Earth.
No, we haven't seen anything.
Yes, you have. You've seen it
haven't.
from satellite imagery.
Oh, satellite imagery that could be drawn and made up.
Okay, really? Okay, you're going to compare the flat Earth to Columbus discovering America being taught in school? I mean, wow, that's just amazing. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, he's pretty much just kind of put out the most crazy things of all. He drives from coast to coast. I mean, what the fuck? Really? Because you don't think you can't see the curvature in front of you when you actually can. I mean, that's just crazy. China is under us. Well, I guess if you want to think of there always being an up and down, but in space, there's really no up and down. That's just kind of a human-made thing because of gravity, right? I mean, you're questioning whether gravity exists or he thinks he's fall off the Earth. He probably doesn't think the Earth is spinning because he doesn't feel the 1,000-mile-an-hour wind through his hair, what the fuck, man? He is sold on this. It sounds like Shaq is just sold on this, and that's just really crazy. And again, another one that probably should have finished college. I don't know what his high school education was like, but critical thinking was probably not a big part of the curriculum, I guess. Now of all the conspiracy theories or hypotheses out there, the conspiracy hypotheses, the one that really doesn't even rise to the level of hypothesis is the belief that the Earth is flat. That is such a blatantly, I hate to say it, but an idiotic belief. Say what you want about fluoride people and chemtrailers, and say what you want about even people that believe in Sasquatch. There's reasonable hypotheses behind some of those, but just not the flat Earth. It's just not a reality. There's some major things that point out that the Earth is not flat, if you haven't noticed yourself. The satellite images, which, if you're going to argue that they're faking the moon landing and they're faking satellite images, there's not much I can say to you. But the satellite images do show the curvature of the Earth. And there's film, if you ever watch the NASA channel, of them orbiting the Earth. The Earth is round all the way around. You can see the line from where the sun rises and sets. The lines on the moon when the sun is on part of the moon shows that it's a sphere. The horizon, when you can't see the buildings of New York City, when you're 20 miles away in New Jersey and it's flat enough to see, but you can only see the tips of the buildings. Well, are the buildings just only half there? Or are they beyond the horizon, the bottom portions of those buildings? Another unique thing that people see who are near the equator on Earth, if you look up at night or you put out a time-lapse camera or make a film, low-light film at night from the equator, there's two distinct circular patterns on either side of the equator of the stars going in different directions. These circles are like swirls. Go check it out on Google. Equatorial star video is probably what I'd put in. Something like that, and it'll show you. It's quite remarkable. The only way that can happen is if the Earth is a sphere, round, not flat. Wow. It's just is all I've really got to say. You can go to Rational Wiki if you want. That's a good place. There's an even better one just for flat earthers, though, that I would recommend, a good website. It's called metabunk.org. And this is a great website. They've got a lot of video and diagrams to show you why the Earth is a sphere. I mean, there's so many physical reasons that the Earth is a sphere. This was just proven something like 3,000, 4,000 years ago, okay, by somebody who realized the shadow cast on an obelisk in two different towns, north and south of each other on Earth, cast different length shadows at the same time of day. Well, the only way for that to happen is if we live on a sphere. You should have learned this in like 7th grade science. I mean, and if you didn't, you should have learned it again in college science for sure. Everybody should have to take a geography course. Me being a geography major, of course, I believe that. Anyway, there you go. Flat earthers are out there, people, for real. For real. Anyway, a little video there for you guys today on flat Earth, or a little audio on the flat earther stuff. I encourage you to go watch those online or listen to those videos. There's more of them out there as well, and there's people who sincerely believe this, folks. Sincerely, and I can't take you seriously if you're a flat earther. Your ability to reason and to understand scientific information is not there. Well, in the news generally this week, we have the new Republican insurance revamp. I like to call it, I read this somewhere on social media, the Republican Insurance Program, or RIP. Perfect. The House Freedom Caucus, which is filled with so many, with so-called Tea Parties members, is still obstinate over passing the crazy bill, and knowing their understanding that it's a bad idea. They postponed it a day and will work on a few members to try to get it through, and it will face a tough road in the Senate if it does squeak through. So even if they get through the House, the Senate isn't a sure thing either by any means. I finally heard a congressman tell it like it is with the Republicans, however. On Wednesday, Representative Alcee Hastings of Florida was beside himself over the proposed health care law from the Republicans. After hearing debate and testimony all morning during the House Rules Committee meeting on the bill, with everyone's attention captured as they were preparing to break for a short recess, Representative Hastings took the time to make a powerful statement, which included his reading of the first part of Janis Joplin's classic hit, Me and Bobby McGee. After finally getting his time to speak following a series of interruptions by colleagues, Representative Hastings explained to his Republican friends who were testifying about the new health care law the reason the Affordable Care Act failed to do what it was intended, and he pointed out it was the many states' refusal to opt into the Medicaid expansion that was the real reason for its shortcomings. But with exacerbation in his voice, he interrupted his own comments to read two different items before the break. The first was the preamble of the Constitution, and the second was Me and Bobby McGee. Apparently, he felt it would be a poignant way to explain to his conservative friends the plight of the common man. And he was right.
Wisconsin did not do the expansion at all and lower their insurance rates more than the expansion states.
Well, Mr. Chairman, reclaiming my time, sir. Florida didn't expand Medicaid, and 900,000 people were left walking, and I can tell you that it would have made a difference. And let's make it very clear here. Among the reasons that the so-called Obamacare plan failed was because we did not work together, and your party continued the efforts to undermine it, and many, because of a political decision, states did not expand Medicaid, and therefore it was unworkable in many of those places. Well, and one of the reasons that there's all of the states. Mr. Chairman, I was told that we're going to recess, and I can split my time, but I don't want to.
Judge, how would you like to pursue the matter?
Just two things to put on the minds of everybody here as we proceed.
Yes, sir.
My good friend from Georgia and I attended a bipartisan dinner last week. We had a lot of fun, and both of us the other day said that we had great enthusiasm during the weekend after having had that bipartisan dinner with other colleagues of ours. But we both agreed that when we got back here on Monday and came to the Rules Committee, our enthusiasm vanished. And it's going to get worse. Listen to the Constitution. We, the people, the preamble of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. Now, my friends in the Republican Party, their mantra has been, since introducing this measure, talk about liberty and talk about freedom. It's as if those liberties and freedoms for all the people that advanced us here in the United States Congress did not have the same kind of underpinnings in their thought. But when you look at that liberty portion of the preamble, it's preceded by the overlooked often part of that sentence, to promote the general welfare. That's a part of our responsibility. And so when you talk about the freedom, and I love it, I asked one of my staffers to pull it up. I'm, as many of you, a lover of every kind of music. I like Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Bo Diddley, B.B. King. I like them all. But I especially liked Janis Joplin, and I'm still wrestling with what she meant and what it must have meant to her. Let me give you the first paragraph of the first portion of Bobby McGee. She says, busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, when I was feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed a diesel down, referring to a truck, just before it rained, and rode us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harp out of my dirty red bandana. I was playing soft while Bobby sung the blues. Yeah, windshield wipers, slapping time. I was holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that driver knew. And then she says, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing. I mean nothing, honey, if it isn't free. I'm sure you all wrestle with this particular situation, but let me, at my age, older than everybody in this room, tell you something. We didn't always have health insurance in America. And it wasn't until the turn of the century that we did have health insurance. Interestingly enough, Germany, Russia, Hungary, several countries preceded us with health insurance. Our health insurance ultimately arose as disability insurance. And what we wound up doing in those days was everybody paid out of their pocket whatever they had. And that's how we proceeded. The tragedy is, at the turn of the century when we did get health insurance, my grandmother and grandfather didn't have insurance. My mother and father didn't have health insurance because insurance companies wouldn't sell insurance to black people. It was interesting, they would sell them all sorts of things. Street insurance, it was called, for life insurance. Now we come to where we are, and I chastise everybody in this room for us not working collaboratively to come up with a plan that can assist America. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recess here, and then I'll tell the rest of what I intend for y'all to know about. All right.
Representative Alcee Hastings should be commended for stating the obvious. Most congressmen, like Oregon's own Greg Walden, who is one of the Republicans testifying, are quick to mention the need for liberty, but rarely mention the need for the general welfare. To Republicans, that too often sounds like socialism, a term they reel from with disdain. Truth is, without these social programs, America would be just another third world country. Look, I'm no fan of the Make Insurance Companies Wealthier, or ACA plan, also known as Obamacare. It has its good points, but it's fascist. Let's face it. Forced to purchase largely unregulated product, no state-run alternative, no need for insurance to begin with. I mean, there's no need for it. Remember what Representative Hastings said in that clip. They didn't have it. Many people in America for many, many years. And here's another thing. Why does a doctor running an MRI shop making 10 times that of a second-grade teacher or a second-year police officer, why? Why are they making so much? Did Obamacare do anything to actually address the systematic issues at all? No. It was a gift to the insurance companies. They have now raised rates and will likely not reduce them significantly. Now they have a new baseline at which to measure what a normal rate is. Kind of like rent. Even if a housing market takes a major hit and the housing prices drop in a city, rental rates never seem to go back down like the mortgage rates do. You ever notice that? Yeah. Also in Washington, Congress actually voted to kill, basically, your privacy protections on the internet. A bunch of consumer privacy groups made a plea, a last-minute plea to try to stop Congress from doing this. A party line vote. Congress, they voted to dismantle the privacy protections for broadband subscribers. In a 50-48 vote, the rules passed last October by the FCC simply required that ISPs clearly disclose what subscriber data is being collected and sold by ISPs. It also required that ISPs provide working opt-out tools that require the consumers had to opt in, the dirtiest phrase imaginable to the ad industry, of course, and they have to opt in for the collection of more sensitive data like financial info or browsing histories. But the rules were seen as an important face of greater consolidation in an already uncompetitive broadband market, where said lack of competition eliminates any organic market punishment for bad behavior on the privacy front. Now, with neither broadband competition nor meaningful regulatory oversight, privacy advocates are justifiably worried about the repercussions to come. The rules were killed by using the Congressional Review Act, which allows Congress to dismantle recently approved regulations with a simple majority vote. While the rules really were relatively straightforward, telecom lobbyists spent months deriding the rules as onerous regulations that would be too confusing for consumers, potentially stifling sector innovation. Yeah, right. Just crazy. One of the proposal's sponsors, Arizona Senator Jeff Flake, went so far in a speech Wednesday night to suggest that the rule somehow restricted constitutional rights. Yeah, like the rights of giant internet service providers like Comcast, right? I don't hardly think so. Quote, in a speech on the Senate floor Wednesday night, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who introduced the bill, said the FCC regulations were an example of a bureaucratic power grab. Passing with this CRA will send a powerful message that federal agencies can't unilaterally restrict constitutional rights and expect to get away with it, Flake said. Wow. It's just crazy. The goal is basically just a gut oversight of one of the least competitive and most anti-competitive sectors in American industry by first hamstringing the FCC's oversight of the sector, then by inevitably pushing bills that hinder the FTC's oversight as well. All told, today's vote is one of the more embarrassing examples of our broken, cash, compromised legislative process in recent memory. Just crazy that they want to do this, really, in my mind. Yeah, I mean, I really think it's something that we need to write your congressman about and complain. You know, they're going to sell all of your information, all of your browsing information. Can you imagine what that's worth if they could sell your more private and personal browsing information? Can you imagine? I mean, what is the point of HIPAA laws and stuff like that on your health insurance and your insurance privacy and your medical information privacy? I mean, it would all be just shot to hell. It's just crazy, really. I mean, it's just crazy. Anyway. All right, well, let's keep on moving on here. Moving past Washington, D.C. Now, we also have this story out of North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina bathroom bill. Remember that? It's still in place. A year later, it's the 1-year anniversary of the bathroom bill. And, it has justifiably cost the state millions and millions in lost revenue. Some examples of the lost revenue are Bruce Springsteen, Pearl Jam, Demi Lovato, Nick Jones, all canceled concerts in the state. Springsteen, $100,000 just for the rental of the Coliseum complex. $68,000 for the Cirque du Soleil. $20,000 for the band Boston, $72,000 for the ACC Swimming and Diving Championships, which canceled, and almost $500,000 for the NCAA Men's Basketball Regional, which is not being played in North Carolina this year. It's cost them a ton of money, and rightly so. The city of Greensboro is expected to have lost $14 million overall, the city, from losing that regional. $14 million. Direct spending totals for cancellations in Charlotte, North Carolina. Direct spending, sports-related events, $77 million. Conferences and conventions, almost $7 million. And between those two, over 60,000 hotel rooms that were not rented because they don't have these events happening. Amazing. There's 133 bids for NCAA-related events in North Carolina between 2018 and 2022. Can you believe that? I mean, that's just insane. They can't do this anymore. They're going to have to turn this bill around. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's only a few states that have passed positive bills about transgender access to public accommodations, some of which are Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, New York, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware. Looks like I got them all. Oh, and Hawaii, of course. So, there are some progressive states out there that are welcoming all of this missing revenue from North Carolina. Heck, have the NCAA basketball tournament someplace, Colorado, Illinois. Absolutely. Don't have it in North Carolina. Screw those motherfuckers. You don't need to pass laws that discriminate against people. And would you really rather have that transgender man who really should be a woman when he was born a woman, I guess, but now he's a man? You want him using the women's restroom? I'm just saying, he's not going to look like a woman. He's not going to behave like a woman. He identifies as a man. It's just stupidity on its face. Anyway, that's enough of that. And Google takes a hit on their corporate image. Google and YouTube are going to lose hundreds of millions in advertised revenue from AT&T, Verizon, and others. This from USA Today. AT&T said that it is halting all ad spending on Google except for search ads. Of course, you can't give that up, right? That means AT&T ads will not run on YouTube or 2 million websites that take part in Google's ad network. Quote, "We are deeply concerned that our ads may have appeared alongside YouTube content promoting terrorism and hate," the company said in an emailed statement. "Until Google can ensure this won't happen again, we are removing our ads from Google's non-search platforms." Sene Shao, who handles marketing communications and branding for Verizon, confirmed that mobile operator has also pulled its ads. Quote, "Once we were notified that our ads were appearing on non-sanctioned websites, we took immediate action to suspend this type of ad placement and launched an investigation," Chow said in a statement. Google declined to comment on the defection of advertisers. Wow, right? That's a major chunk of change. I'm just saying. You have to wonder if they might step up some basic screening, Google, so that they don't have that. I mean, they've got to have, what do they call it, search algorithms or something that they can put into place, you would think. It may seem like censorship, I guess, but they're companies and they have no reason to allow anything on their sites that they don't want to. So it's that age-old adage, we reserve the right to refuse business to anyone. And I think that they shouldn't allow the terrorist websites, if they can find them, they can block them from Google maybe. The YouTube videos as well. What the hell? Let's block them. I don't have a problem with that. That's YouTube's a business. They have the right to censor stuff on their website. Now the internet itself needs to be open so that if a terrorist organization wants to put up some stupid website, then nobody can stop them from doing that, I guess. But there's no reason that Google needs to find that website in a search. Google is an independent company. Use a different search engine. So step it up, Google. Step it up, YouTube. Hey, and I tell you what, Verizon and AT&T, you guys are welcome to advertise with GoddabRadio.com or OCCNewspaper.com. Oh, hell in the yeah. Well, let's just get to our sponsors. Let's do that. Tired of pills? We can help. At Southern Oregon Alternative Medicine, we offer chiropractic and naturopathic medicine, massage, acupuncture, and medical marijuana therapy. With clinics in 19 locations across Oregon and main offices in Portland, Springfield, and Medford, we make it convenient and easy for you too. Southern Oregon Alternative Medicine is the only clinic of its kind to offer both medical marijuana certification and full health care. You can find us online at www.soaltmed.com or southernoregonalternativemedicine.com or call us at 541-779-5235. At Honey Badger Sungrown, they care about providing natural products. There are no chemical pesticides and no chemical fertilizers used in their cannabis grow, and they are motivated with a passion for natural cultivation. They take pride in sustainable and environmentally friendly cultivation and produce their product on the beautiful Willamette Valley floor. Honey Badger Cannabis is available at a number of dispensaries, including Grow High Station in Portland and Stash Cannabis Company in Beaverton. Ask for Honey Badger Sungrown products at your dispensary. You can visit them online at www.honeybadgersungrown.com. It's time for Carnival Barks, our weekly Trump Roundup, where we highlight recent alternative facts from the so-called president. A segment where we point out the absurdities, lies, and blunders coming from Trump and his inept administration. This week, we will focus on our likely treasonous so-called president and the investigation by the FBI into his Russia connections from the House Intelligence Committee hearing on Monday.
Director Comey, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Schiff, members of the committee, thank you for including me in today's hearing. I'm honored to be here representing the people of the FBI. I hope we have shown you through our actions and our words how much we at the FBI value your oversight of our work and how much we respect your responsibility to investigate those things that are important to the American people. Thank you for showing that both are being taken very seriously. As you know, our practice is not to confirm the existence of ongoing investigations, especially those investigations that involve classified matters. But in unusual circumstances, where it is in the public interest, it may be appropriate to do so, as Justice Department policies recognize. This is one of those circumstances. I have been authorized by the Department of Justice to confirm that the FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election. And that includes investigating the nature of any links between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government, and whether there was any coordination between the campaign and Russia's efforts. As with any counterintelligence investigation, this will also include an assessment of whether any crimes were committed. Because it is an open, ongoing investigation and is classified, I cannot say more about what we are doing and whose conduct we are examining. At the request of congressional leaders, we have taken the extraordinary step, in coordination with the Department of Justice, of briefing this Congress's leaders, including the leaders of this committee, in a classified setting in detail about the investigation. But I can't go into those details here.
This is a big fucking deal, people. If you think this is not, you probably shouldn't be listening to this show. I'm just saying. This is straight up treason if they collaborated with the Russians during the election. There are a half a dozen people very close to Trump that have ties to Russia. The hearing was amazing as the Republicans spent their time trying to focus on the leaks and how terrible it is that there are these leaks. What the fuck? They're protecting this piece of shit. The leaks are something that's needed in order to get the real information out to the press. I know the president likes to talk about fake news, but the truth is there's some good news sources out there still doing some dogged work trying to find out the truth to all of this crap. And actually, one of them, I know people probably who are listening to this show already watch it, but MSNBC has been covering this pretty well, especially Rachel Maddow. I would recommend you check out her Saturday recap that has been happening. She pieces together all of her Russia stories and then puts it all together in a show, hour-long show, I believe, on Saturdays, where they cover all the previous week's Russia ties. And they are long, and they are many. It's just really quite incredible. It's getting really deep. And then on top of this, the Republicans not doing anything, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Kevin Nunes of California, he actually seems to think it's a big deal that Obama was briefed about this investigation eventually, and given a memo that this investigation is going on and some of the actors in it, as if it was a big problem. That Director Comey told the then President of the United States, Obama, that the Russians were fucking with our election and fucking with Trump. Are you kidding me? That's not a big deal. That's what the Director of the FBI should have done. And Obama should have come out and told the public. So should have the Director. He sure didn't have a problem talking about Hillary's email investigation, when at the same time there's an even more important investigation, I would hazard to say, going on with Trump and his ties to Russia. Just quite amazing, really. Here's Kevin Nunes' comments after he left the White House after speaking with Trump on Wednesday.
Today I briefed the president on the concerns that I had about incidental collection and how it relates to President-elect Trump and his transition team and the concerns that I have. As I said earlier, there'll be more information, hopefully by Friday. The NSA is cooperating very, very well. And lastly, I'll say that the reports that I was able to see did not have anything to do with Russia or the Russia investigation or any tie to the Trump team. And with that, I'll love to take a couple questions if you have them.
Chairman, quick question. Why is it appropriate for you to brief President Trump, given it's his own administration or campaign associates that are a part of this investigation?
Because what I saw has to do with Russia and nothing to do with the Russia investigation, has everything to do with possible surveillance activities, and the president needs to know that these intelligence reports are out there, and I have a duty to tell him that.
Does it appear that you'd be drawing conclusions before it was completed, Chairman?
I'm not drawing any conclusion. I'm just telling the president what exists in intelligence reports.
Were the subjects of the surveillance under FISA orders?
It appears so. I don't want to get too much into those details, but these were intelligence reports, and it brings up a lot of concerns about, whether things were properly minimized or not. But I will tell you, I've only seen some. It's in the dozens, but we don't have the full scope of all the intelligence reports that were produced, or who ordered the unmasking of additional names, and we're hoping to get that. Yes.
Are you saying the surveillance, if it wasn't related to Russia or anything like that, are you saying that it was political surveillance of political opponents, as the president has suggested in his tweets?
What I've read bothers me, and I think it should bother the president himself and his team. Because I think some of it seems to be inappropriate, but like I said, until we get all the information to the committee, it's hard to really say until we see it in its totality.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
We knew that there was some incidental collection because Lieutenant General Michael Flynn was caught up talking with Sergei Kislyak.
Right.
Does this go beyond that, and does this qualify as the sort of wiretapping that the president was tweeting about?
Well, it definitely goes beyond what happened to General Flynn. Now, of course, we don't actually know yet officially what happened to General Flynn. We just know that his name leaked out, but we don't know how it was picked up yet. That's one of the things that we asked for in our March 15th letter, was for the NSA, CIA, and FBI to get us all the unmasking that was done. And I'll tell you, NSA is being cooperative, but so far the FBI has not told us whether or not they're going to respond to our March 15th letter, which is now a couple weeks old.
And again, does this seem to describe what the president was talking about when he was talking about, quote, wiretapping, which they then said was broader surveillance?
What I've read seems to me to be some level of surveillance activity, perhaps legal, but I don't know that it's right, and I don't know that the American people would be comfortable with what I've read, but let us get all the reports.
Wow, that's really hard to believe. That this guy would go march up there with some possibly legal surveillance information and provide it to the president so that he's aware of it. Did the president need to be made aware if he's in part of an investigation? I don't know. Seems to me that he really kind of stepped out of line. He went to the White House when he learned that this had happened. And he just basically exposed that there's a bias in this intelligence committee. They would, if they were to try to progress in an investigation, there's no way it would be successful. I mean, they're going to need an independent investigation of some sort to look into this. Maybe not even the FBI. I don't know. This dude worked for the Trump campaign too. Nunes did. So what a fool. He should have shared this information with the rest of the committee before the president. And I don't know. Trump's going down for this, I bet. I really do. Treason. And there's lots of money involved. They're going to get his taxes now. This should be an exciting ride. I just hope that he doesn't blow up our government beyond repair. before they can get him out of office. That's what I hope. That's going to be it for our Carnival Bark segment for this week. And now we're going to move on to some cannabis news that we have going on. Cannabis news from all over the country, really. Now, actually, let's go ahead and get a word from our last sponsor here. Are you interested in cannabis? Do you work in the industry? If so, you should pick up a copy of the Oregon Cannabis Connection newspaper, available at over 380 locations across Oregon. We cover cannabis news and provide solid information on cannabis in Oregon and nationwide. Find us online at www.occnewspaper.com or pick up a copy at one of our distribution locations. We offer an interactive map on our website for your convenience. Oregon Cannabis Connection, connecting the cannabis community in Oregon since 2010. Okay, so for the cannabis news for this week, we got some interesting stories. We've got quite a few here that are Oregon or somewhat Oregon related. There's no doubt about that. Most importantly, probably, that has happened is there's been a product recall. The Oregon Department of Agriculture recalled Uncle John's Blend fertilizer for having pesticides in it. Another fertilizer has been recalled from the shelves for testing positive for pesticides not listed on the label. The product is called Uncle John's Blend 002 with 0.1% iron by Cutting Edge Solutions, LLC. It is the second product to be recalled in the past few weeks by that's made by the same company. On February 28th, they had a recall on their Uncle John's Blend 002 with no iron. Both contain salicylic acid. All products for sale in Oregon intended to be used on plants and as fertilizers or pesticides must be approved and registered by the Oregon Department of Agriculture. Cannabis should only have specific products used on them, and the pesticide guide list, a pesticide guide list is provided to help growers avoid improper use. The page also provides the full list of recalled products. The pesticide advisory reads, the Oregon Department of Agriculture has reason to believe the product 002 Uncle John's Blend with iron, manufactured by Cutting Edge Solutions, contains a pesticide active ingredient, salicylic acid, not listed on the label. This advisory is based on laboratory testing and confirmation of undeclared pesticide active ingredient. Growers of all crops and retailers are advised to discontinue using or selling 002 Uncle John's Blend until further notice. The department has issued a statewide stop sale or removal order and is working with the manufacturer to rectify the situation. If you have more concerns, contact the Oregon Department of Agriculture at 503-986-4635 or email them at pestx@oda.state.or.us. And also you can find on their website, oregon.gov/ODA/programs/pesticides. They have information there on it. They've had many recalls. This year they've only had a couple. In February, we mentioned the other Uncle John's Blend. And then also February 16th, they recalled C4 Flower Enhancer Bloom Promoter by Bloom Brothers Garden Supply, also for salicylic acid. And then Liquid Karma Plant Enhancer by American Agritech or Botanicare contains salicylic acid. There have been probably over a dozen, probably it looks like maybe 16, 18 different products that have been identified to have contaminants. We suggest you check it out at the ODA website. It's a great website to give you lots of really good information. There's another great story here. A plane from Medford, Oregon was busted in Texas with 230 pounds of marijuana. A small plane that originated from Medford, Oregon was busted in Llano, Texas with 230 pounds of vacuum-sealed packages of marijuana on Monday, March 20th. The plane, piloted by 64-year-old Wayne Douglas Burnett, refueled in Holbrook, Arizona, before eventually landing in Central Texas. According to authorities, he landed at the unmanned Bulverde Airport and then took off after he spotted authorities on the ground. He was headed for an airport in Lago Vista, but landed at the Llano Municipal Airport after he realized authorities were after him. After he landed the plane, the suspect apparently attempted to flee on foot, but was arrested by Texas Department of Public Safety Air Unit officers. Statesman.com and Austin reported, according to the criminal complaint, federal agents began tracking Burnett single-engine plane Sunday night as it flew from Oregon to Texas. After landing in Texas at the airport in Bulverde, federal officials said the plane took off after spotting authorities on the ground. The plane was headed to an airport in Lago Vista, officials said, but Burnett flew to the Llano airport after seeing law enforcement officers. Burnett landed in Llano and tried to run away, federal officials said, but he was arrested by Texas Department of Public Safety Unit officers. Authorities said they found 15 duffel bags filled with vacuum-sealed packages of marijuana and about $6,000 in cash. I would expect some people in Oregon are getting a little worried. No doubt authorities are going to track that shipment back here, and it's not the kind of media attention the state needs after a recent report was released by the Oregon State Police. That report pointed the finger at the medical marijuana grows in the state as the main source of black market marijuana, which is a simplistic explanation of the issue. Senator Jenny Burdick also made comments to the Oregonian where she supports the findings in the report, but OCC newspaper's Anthony Taylor broke down the real problems in a recent opinion piece. I recommend you go read that opinion piece that we have. It is entitled Oregon Medical Marijuana Growers Not to Blame for Black Market, and that's at www.occnewspaper.com. One of the sponsors of our show, and by chance the newspaper that I also publish and edit. All right, so yeah, don't fly 250 pounds of weed to Texas from Oregon, especially Southern Oregon. Just not a good idea. Wow, there's another story that from the Border Patrol. U.S. Border Patrol banned a tourist for using legal marijuana on a previous visit, if you can believe that. One very real problem with the conflict between U.S. federal laws and state laws regarding marijuana legalization was made apparent during 2015 in Southern California. Sarah, a tourist from Santiago, Chile, was detained at the Los Angeles International Airport by Customs and Border Patrol. What was supposed to be a short trip to visit her boyfriend in Northern California turned into a wasted flight, searches and interrogations, and hours of detention at the airport by CBP officers. All this hubbub stems from a visit Sarah made earlier the same year to Colorado. While there, she purchased and consumed cannabis from a dispensary, which is perfectly legal in Colorado. She explained to Jacob Margulis on Southern California Public Radio's Take Two show, quote, I went to the store. I passed my passport to the store. They say to me, okay, no problem. You can go inside of the store. You can buy whatever you want to buy, and no problem. You are okay. Go to your home and have fun. Unquote. Unfortunately, that fun was also recorded on her cell phone with a few pictures, including one of the retail cannabis that was at the dispensary. One of the, quote, rights a person entering the U.S. does not have is a right to privacy. Customs and Border Patrol can search you, your belongings, and even your phone. When the CBP officer looked at Sarah's phone, he saw her cannabis pictures, and that's when things changed. Sarah was then asked more questions about her use of many other illicit drugs like cocaine, heroin, and mushrooms. Eventually, taken to another room and held for over 15 hours, she missed her bus to Northern California. Quote, as a foreign national admitting consumed drugs, it's a reason for the U.S. to refuse your entry, explained CBP to Take Two. They were unable to get statistics for the number of people CBP has turned away for violating marijuana laws. It was eventually too much for the relationship between Sarah and her boyfriend, Neil. Take Two reported, quote, I really love Neil. He was amazing. He had an amazing relationship. We had an amazing relationship. Like it was almost perfect, Sarah reminisced. Neil was very important for me, so I really want to see him again. Sarah says she feels trapped. She can't visit friends in the U.S., and her job for a company based in the States could be put in jeopardy due to the fact that she can't visit headquarters. Now, whenever she travels, even if it's not to the U.S., authorities at the airport ask her why she's been banned from the country. Quote, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it. I just want to be free and go wherever I want without any concern, without any worry, she said. I was just doing what I thought was legal. This is just another example of why the federal marijuana laws are obsolete and problematic, not just for Americans living here. When a tourist can come to America and visit a legal marijuana state, they should not be punished for using cannabis while there. It's capricious to do this and does nothing to combat drug trafficking. All this behavior does is frighten travelers and dissuade dishonest and friendly people from visiting a supposedly free country. The original article can be found at scpr.org, Southern California Public Radio, and I encourage you to listen to it. It was an interview they did on the podcast or the public radio broadcast. And then there's this kind of crazy news that broke that nobody really could believe at first. Actor Woody Harrelson has quit smoking marijuana. The stoner legend Woody Harrelson told Vulture.com he has not smoked pot in a year. In an interview published online, Harrelson told the interviewer he felt like he was partying too hard, so he decided to make the change. He is still drinking alcohol, however. Harrelson gave the interview while in New York promoting his new film, Wilson, which is a new dramatic comedy by Craig Johnson. The news came as a surprise to the interviewer, who explained that he was also trying to quit marijuana and blamed the smoke for making them less productive, a point with which Harrelson agreed. Harrelson told Vulture.com, actually it's a question and answer thing here. So Vulture says, what's a misconception that people have about you? Woody answers, another long pause. They think I'm a party animal, which I am a party animal. I mean, that might be one thing, but I am a party animal. But on the other hand, I'm now extremely moderate, and I actually stopped smoking pot almost a year ago. Vulture says, Mazel tov. That's not easy. I'm also in the process of trying to quit. Woody says, oh, really? Vulture, yeah, I had a problem with it. Woody, why? Just too much? Vulture, it messes with my head and makes me less productive. Woody, yeah, that was a little bit of my issue. Just 30 solid years of partying too fucking hard. Vulture, what do you do to keep from relapsing? Woody, well, like last night, someone had not just good herb, but sativa, really good sativa. There's a joint and beautifully rolled. I like it beautifully rolled. And I just was like, I mean, I've got this long. It would be weird to just be like, okay, let me have a hit off of that, and then suddenly go back to smoking too much, which is, I don't have a problem at all with smoking. I think it's great. I think it's a great drug in terms of, even cops say that the side effect is euphoria, or the, what do you call it? Vulture. The effect? Right. The effect of it's euphoria. But when you're doing it all the time, it just becomes, well, you know, I feel like it was keeping me from being emotionally available. I really don't want this interview to turn into a whole thing about that. Vulture. Well, congratulations. It's not easy. Woody. I still drink, but I tried to be moderate with the drinking too. It is confusing that a confessed big-time party animal would stop smoking marijuana and continue drinking alcohol. It does seem like an odd choice, but I am one that really enjoys a beer once in a while too. I have no intent on getting buzzed, but I still do have beers. I'm confident that Harrelson will turn to the natural healing herb in a moment, but just how long that moment is going to be hard to say. One thing is certain, though, Harrelson will continue to advocate for legalization and for its medical use. He is a longtime progressive. His feelings concerning others' liberty and the proven medical value of the plant have not changed. Whether or not I can get an interview with him concerning cannabis in the near future is much less likely, however. I don't think he's going to be on Goddab Radio talking about cannabis anytime soon, since he seems to have just quit doing it. So, oh well. Well, that wraps up another episode of Goddab Radio, our 10th episode, and we're glad you joined us. You can pick up our episode every Friday at 3 p.m. on all of the major podcast networks. You can find us on iTunes, Google Music Play, Amazon, TuneIn. We're on Stitcher, pretty much anywhere. And of course, the easiest way really is to go to our website, goddabradio.com, and subscribe there, and we will get you the issue each week when it comes out right to your mailbox, your email box. Thanks again for joining us, folks, and we'll see you next week.